Several years after I completed my degree in history and political science, someone began circulating a whole new model of what it means to be right or left. It appears to originate with libertarians who conveniently put libertarians at the far right so they can then argue any use of authority is leftist, and instead of being called Nazis, they get to call other people Nazis. While this might be in some fashion expedient for them, it otherwise makes no sense whatsoever. The traditional view of right versus left, conservative versus liberal, which I will emphasize here, goes back at least to the French Revolution, which is commonly considered its source. But keeping in mind that the ancient Roman Republic and various Greek city-states organized seating in their legislatures by partisan grouping, it conceivably goes back a lot further. First, we have to define what our government is governing. In English, we tend to use the sloppy word country. The more proper term would be a nation or state. Traditionally, a nation-state is made up of 6 things people share. A geography, meaning you live next to each other. Because you live next to each other, a shared history. Because you've been living next to each other and have a shared history, a shared language, race, religion. Most of the time, not necessarily always, a shared government for this shared community. Put this list of things down the middle and you can move from right to left. How strongly you care about these aspects of your identity determines where you go on the chart. If you can take some and leave others, or you don't feel too strongly about any of them, you might be right in the center. On the far left, you are willing to use all authority and force, military, police, media, education, and economic, to destroy these items of identity so you can join a global blob of communist nothingness with nothing to define your existence. Your nation simply ceases to be. On the far right, you're willing to use all authority and force, military, police, media, education, and economic, to preserve these items of identity against all dilution and intrusion, rejecting and combating all attempts to erase your nation. Most humans will drift around the center with different gradations of left or right. Cultural shifts in either direction will provoke opposite reactionarianism. The most famous example historically, the big shift towards communism around the world following the First World War and how it triggered the rise of fascism. The aforementioned libertarian model makes absolutely no sense beyond them finding it useful. People willing to do anything to defend the nation or willing to do anything to destroy it are clearly not on the same side. Apply that same formula to the Second Amendment and its stupidity is even more obvious. If all authority is inherently evil, if all force is inherently bad, then the man who uses a gun to defend his family home is morally no different than the man who used the gun to break in and shoot that man. Both used force, therefore both are bad. Obviously, that conclusion is actually more than just stupid, it's downright evil.